San Francisco 49ers getting ready for a battle for the West, a battle for home field advantage in the playoffs with the Seattle Seahawks Sunday, and how special this team is to even be in this position on today's Locked On 49ers.
You are Locked On 49ers, your daily San Francisco 49ers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On 49ers. Brian Peacock and Eric Crocker with you as always at BD Peacock, at Coach Crocky. Thanks everybody for making us your first listen on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Love our everydayers. Thanks for hanging with us and thanks for making us the number one sports podcast network. And of course, if you are tuning in on this late Tuesday night on YouTube or Wednesday, maybe on your drive to work, you know what time it is. It is Winky Wednesday. So let's bring on today's guest.
Nicholas Winkler, come on down.
Can't believe it.
Nicholas Winkler, my former radio colleague. He is the voice of the fan here on the program, our weekly guest, and love talking about the 49ers with Wink. And I mean,
wow. Can't believe it.
What adjectives can you use, Wink, when it comes to that matchup against the Bears in week 17 that's going to set up this game in week 18 to finish the regular season against the Seattle Seahawks?
I mean, it was just an incredible contest, right? I mean, you're talking about back and forth, 7, 14, just back and forth the entire game. You knew, whoever was going to score last was going to win this football game. And I mean, it did not disappoint. We knew coming in, okay, this is going to be a good game. Bears are legit. They've got all those 2-minute victories, blah, 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 most ever. And then, of course, they had a chance to go down and do it again. And the fact that the 49ers said, no, listen, 6 was enough. No more of that. I legitimately did not sit down during that game. I sat down during halftime. I had a little break. I rested my legs, but it was just, I was pacing the house. I couldn't sit down. I was just too excited. I was too pumped up. And at the end, I'm yelling. My son comes running in the room. He's like, what's happening? I'm like, they're going to get him. They're going to sack him. Oh, God. He got to see the very last play. And I mean, just as a 49er fan, there's nothing better than that. Just excitement all day and then the win.
I had to call little Leo into the room to watch a replay of the Brock Purdy touchdown where he scrambled around and hit Kyle Juszczyk.
I did the same. Oh, yeah.
That was one of the more, I think, exuberant viewing sessions I've ever had watching a 49ers game. And you got to go back to some other recent games like, Super Bowls in 2019 against the Saints and the old and even further back, remember with Alex Smith against the Saints and going back to those days. And even one of my favorite moments I remember watching the 49ers game was Garrison Hurst when he called ball game with the long touchdown run with the New York Jets. Yeah. And so like some of this game was on par with those moments where you stand up out of your seat and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe what's happening. Not even so much from a standpoint of cheering and yay. It's like, oh my God, what is happening right now? It was so much fun.
Even your average football
you
fan
have to hope. I think the thing you have to hope for more than anything is, a lot of times after that type of game, emotions running high, you end up having like a letdown the next game. So that's where the 49ers got to lock in. They're probably already starting to lock in. You got a short week. You got one track mind to that one seed. You get the one seed, you got a bye week. So you can't let the high in emotions of the Bears game carry over to the next game.
49ers already back to work. This is their Tuesday practice, which for a Saturday game is more like a Wednesday practice, I guess, for them. So we'll talk about the injury report, who's on the field, who's not. Looking good for George Kittle to return to the field so far. But I want to talk about first and it's a special team, I think, that the 49ers have had this year because of the results, because of how this season has gone. I don't know if they're special in the way that they're going to go make this magical run and go win a Super Bowl and go have home field all the way through the Super Bowl, right? Which would be pretty darn special. I don't know if it's that special, but it's really unique in the way that they've been able to put themselves in this position against all odds to be able to play for home field advantage and win the division and be the 1 seed in the NFC. And I want to go to a quote from this week from Ricky Pearsall that kind of talks about the locker room and the chemistry that the 49ers have. And he said, quote, I lean on guys like George, Kittle, and Christian McCaffrey to help push through and get ready to play. When he was talked about how hard it was for him to be ready to play with that PCL injury that he's been dealing with. And it was not feeling good for him on Saturday. And the 49ers didn't know if he was going to be able to play. He ended up having 5 catches for 85 yards. He said, quote, "Those guys are just two of the great players and leaders we have in this locker room. And that hits you the first time you walk in after you're drafted or sign here. We have something special here. And it's a big reason why we are 12-4 despite all the adversity." And I think it was a pretty important quote, and I think pretty telling about the 49ers culture and how important it is to have leaders and how that locker room is wired. And for a guy like Ricky Pearsall, maybe on another team, it's like, yeah, maybe I won't go out there and play because my knee hurts and I really don't feel right. But in this team, in this locker room, he made sure he got out there and he played well. And he was a big part in the 49ers winning that game. So I think that's really important to winning the culture. And clearly, you can say whatever you want about anything else going on with the 49ers and their organization and drafting and team building and all that. The culture part of it, clearly, John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, they've got that part of it right.
Yeah, they've made that a point since the get-go, right? When they first got there, they're like, we're going to bring in our guys. And they have, and they've continually done that. And guys that haven't fallen into that, like the Reuben Fosters and such, they weren't around for very long. Just you don't fit in with what we're doing here. You got to go. We got to keep things going smoothly. And you said, to go on a special run. They're on that special run right now, right? I mean, you're talking about 6 wins in a row to put yourself in a position to win the number 1 overall seed on the last day of the year. Like, it's huge. It's amazing. And I think that the culture has a lot to do with it. And George Kittle is the first name that Pearsall mentioned because he's that guy. He's that guy that's going to get people pumped up. You're not ready to go. He'll be the first one to get you excited to get you out there. You're down, you dropped your pass. He'll be the first guy in your face to be like, look, go get the next one. We're going to be all right. Like, Kittle's a huge part of this football team.
Croc, as a new head coach yourself, what are your thoughts on culture and building that? Does it change because of sometimes out of your control who's in the building and who you build around it? Is it strictly a top-down thing? Can you take a bad culture with the same people and turn it into a good culture? And how have you implemented that into your program? Like, how does that even manifest itself? If you're the head guy, how do you figure out, how do you get there to that culture?
I think the biggest thing is the head guy setting a standard. And, for us, we set a standard pretty high. And I talked to these guys about working. And one of the big things was me being kind of the catalyst of it, right? Just, hey, I'll never ask you guys to do something that I haven't done or won't do. So you'll see me out there. If I have them running stadiums, you'll see me running stadiums with them. And I have to make time as well. There's been a lot of times where I run gassers with them as well, or you'll see other coaches running. So I think kind of showing kids that you're willing to do all the dirty work, right? Or showing the players, and then everybody kind of buying in. That's a huge thing. They see that. Sometimes they follow, sometimes they don't. And if guys aren't following, then you have to get them out of there. And, for me, we went 8-3, right? And that's including our bowl game that we played in. And that was the most wins at Stag since 2013. So over a decade. And the day after our last game, I put out that I was going to be looking for coaches to fill certain spots because I'm not going to stop. Like, we got to continue to work to get better.
Yep.
And if I've learned anything from Kyle Shanahan, I feel like he's that same way. He's constantly trying to find ways to get better. He's finding ways to challenge guys. And I have a guy that's kind of on my staff, but he's in limbo with if he's continuing to play. But Quantrez Knight, and he was with the 49ers for a couple of years, I believe, on practice squad. And, I've talked to him about Kyle Shanahan. Like, man, how was Kyle? What was he like? And, his thing was essentially Kyle has a standard, and he's not going to be an a-hole about everything. But if you're not doing your job, you won't last. And if you're doing your thing and you're falling in line with what their standard is, you'll be there. And I think that's what the 49ers have done an extremely good job of throughout Kyle Shanahan's tenure.
Yeah, and they'll move along without you if you're not buying in. I mean, Brandon Ayuk, perfect example of a guy who wasn't doing what the 49ers expected of him, and they've moved on without him. And they're like, hey, Brandon's going to do what Brandon's going to do, and we're going to put guys on the field who want to be here and want to be 49ers, and, it's working out.
Yeah, it's amazing. And you've seen when they've hit on guys. And I think that's why they've hit on a lot of late picks too. You find these fifth rounders who are wired the right way, and they are up to that standard. And guys like George Kittle. And then sometimes even if guy drafted high, if he doesn't fit, they're gone quick. Right. Yeah. And I think you see that. I think it's a big part of this. I don't think Kyle's running gassers with his guys, but Robert Saleh is running the stairs. Yeah. So maybe there's something to that. Well, all right. Let's talk injury report. George Kittle looking good to come back. Back injury for Christian McCaffrey popped up on the injury report, which is never good. And let's talk Seattle Seahawks, biggest matchup of the year. It's coming down to it in the finale of the regular season, week 18, 49ers, Seahawks next. Today's episode of Locked On 49ers is brought to you by Game Time. NFL season is nearly over in the regular season. We're almost to the playoffs. It's unbelievable. Getting close to 2026, and there's nothing like being at the game, the crowd noise, the energy, and cheering alongside other fans, watching at home as, as great as those matchups are. We talked about that earlier on in this podcast. The frustrating part has always been getting those tickets and getting your butts in the seats and getting to the stadium to be in that atmosphere, waiting in queues or dealing with logins and watching prices change right at checkout. That's why the Game Time app gives the advantage back to fans. It's really a hack for unlocking amazing NFL tickets and experiences in just a few taps. Not only NFL tickets, NBA, baseball tickets. You want to get ready to go to some baseball games coming up in the spring, NHL, sporting events, concerts. I've used it numerous times to find concert tickets, and you can find some phenomenal deals on last-minute seats as well to concerts and comedy shows and theater events. Zone deals as well. You pick a section, Game Time picks the seats, and you can save even more. So all you got to do, and if you're a sports fan, if you're someone who goes to concerts, you got to have Game Time in your pocket and ready to go. It's a no-brainer. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL. That's LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today and get back to being there live. Let's get an injury report a little bit. In fact, for those of you watching on YouTube, let's put it up here on the screen. Visual presentation, both the Seattle Seahawks and 49ers injury report as of the first practice of the week, which is kind of the Wednesday practice. This is the Tuesday practice, more of a walkthrough for the 49ers on Tuesday. But good news for the 49ers that George Kittle was back out there in a limited fashion and is on track to be coming back and being able to play. So looking good for George Kittle. Not out of the woods yet. Don't know for sure if he's going to be able to come back from that ankle, but looking good for George Kittle to be able to return and play in week 18 against the Seattle Seahawks. Trent Williams not practicing. He has a chance, and I love friend of the program, Matt Barrows, who kind of puts that into perspective for us, because Kyle Shanahan saying you have a chance is nearly a kiss of death for you to be able to play, not only that week, but for a while, because Kyle Shanahan did say, yes, there is a chance about Ricky Pearsall, who did not play earlier on in the season. He's got a chance. Kyle Shanahan said about George Kittle last week. Kittle did not play. So got a chance is generally not a great sign, but we'll see if the hamstring is indeed going to keep Trent Williams out for the 49ers against the Seattle Seahawks. Kyle Juszczyk didn't participate in practice. Yetur Gross-Matos was limited. Ronaldo Green made his full participation and return after a neck injury. So that's good news for the 49ers secondary. Ricky Pearsall, limited participant, taking it easy on that knee and ankle that he's been dealing with for a while. Upton Stout limited with the concussion he got last game. And then someone who popped up on the injury report after the game against the Bears was Keon White. He's got a groin injury. He also did not practice. So the four that did not practice for the 49ers, Yetur Gross-Matos, Keon White, Trent Williams, and the newest addition to, so Christian McCaffrey and Trent Williams don't practice all year on these early in the week practices, right? So it shouldn't be a shock that Christian McCaffrey and Trent Williams aren't practicing. Can they practice this week and play is the big question. But for Christian McCaffrey, supposedly nothing serious, but the injury is not just veteran rest day. It is a back. So some back tightness for Christian McCaffrey, which is something that you hope doesn't bother him enough to keep him out as we approach January in some very important games with the workload that Christian McCaffrey has had. So that is the injury report for the San Francisco 49ers. And guys, by the way, I saw some clips of the 49ers in their walkthrough. Black helmets. Look very strange. Very strange. That's going to take some getting used to on Saturday night.
I got to look that up right now. I'm going to see if I can find something from Mayoko or someone.
Yeah, you could see them running around with them. They're wearing red jerseys, which they won't be wearing on Saturday. But it's one of those things where if they come out and they get a win in these faithful jerseys with the black helmets, it's a huge game. We'll see them again at some point. Like, this won't be the last time they wear these.
Yeah, and if they lose, they might disappear forever.
They might be like, nope, never again.
They sold a lot of them, and and it happened last time when they had the all black jerseys. Remember, with the red numbers and no border, those sold like crazy, and I still see a lot of those black jerseys around.
Oh yeah, you go to a game and half the people wearing 49er jerseys have these new faithful jerseys on. They look good. I get it. I was a big fan, still am obviously, but back in the day with Bonds, I bought a black jersey, the Friday Night Blacks that they used to wear. Yeah. Just something about a black jersey, man. It looks good.
Croc, what do you think? You see the black helmet?
Yeah, I see it. It is a little strange just because it doesn't look like the 49ers.
Right.
I guess that's the best way to kind of put it. Now they have the red jerseys on. Literally everyone that I see in this clip right here, I'm assuming it's all offensive guys. So they have the red tops. They all have black bottoms on, whether it's shorts.
It's going to be all black, right?
Or sweats. And then they have black helmets on. And yeah, it looks like, I don't know. It looks like a different team, but it's kind of cool though. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. Can't wait to see him come out of the tunnel. And like it's a night game, wearing all black in a big game like this.
Here's what I wonder, right? When you look at them with these uniforms, because essentially they're practice uniforms, it's dang near a replica of game uniforms.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So the red practice jerseys, they fit different, but they're essentially a replica. I wonder if you could wear the black helmet with the regular game red jerseys, because that's what it looks like they have on that practice, but with black bottoms. I don't know if it goes or not, but looking at what they have on right now, it looks like that's something they could do. They'll probably never do it, but
yeah, well, because there's a lot of red striping on the black helmet too, so red would go well with it in that case. But you could change it up. You can change it up once you get that helmet.
But the actual game red jersey literally has zero gold in it. It's just red with white numbers.
Red and white. No gold, no gold.
There's no gold. But the helmets have actual gold face mask,
Yeah, and the helmets are cool. But guys, the 49ers have the best helmets in all of football. So it's going to be weird not seeing the gold helmets out there for sure.
And you hope they don't come out looking like a college team, because a lot of these what are they called? Do they have a name for
rivalry jerseys?
The rivalry, yes, the rivalry jerseys. Some of them look kind of bad and corny. Some of them look really good. So I hope the 49ers one at least look good. And but yeah, you can't replace the best helmets in football either.
That's tough.
Yeah, wear them occasionally, but it is weird because we've seen different jerseys, different colors. A different helmet's something I've never seen. The logo on the side of the helmet's changed one time in my life. Otherwise, they've been the same helmets. So black helmets it's going to be a shock, I think, to see them run out there and be like, this is the 49ers. And I guess you got to practice in the helmets just to remind everybody what the team looks like, right? Brock Purdy, you don't want Brock Purdy to show up and be like, oh, wait, I'm not used to throwing to people who wear helmets that are black. But anyway, man, George Kittle, Trent Williams, Christian McCaffrey, doesn't matter who's healthy. The 49ers are special. Doesn't matter who's out there, right?
They look that way.
Is it because the Seattle Seahawks are a different team, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this matchup next, but you want to be at full strength. You don't want to be running out there with Austin Pleasance and Jake Tongas as good as they did last week, right? You would like to be at full strength for this type of a game against this team.
I mean, guys, come on. We're watching the game last week. He throws the pick. Trent Williams goes out. No George Kittle. We're all thinking the same thing, right? Like, oh, man, this might be a really long night, right? And they showed up. They do what the 49ers have done all year long. They're on this special ride. 12 wins. Let's go get that 13th with whoever's out there. Doesn't matter. Keep throwing the 49ers out there. You're wearing that all black uniform. Show up and be ready to play because you might get your chance. And just like Tom just showed, right? I mean, when he's playing, he's been solid. He's been a really good tight end. He's no George Kittle, but nobody is. To me, George Kittle is the best tight end that's ever played football for what he does in the locker room, for what he does in blocking, and for what he does as a receiver. He's amazing. But Tom has been good. So just be ready to go. Whoever you are on that 49ers squad, step up. Kyle will have them ready. You know they're going to be good to go.
It goes back to what we talked about earlier, right, Croc? If you're up to the standard, then the 49ers can work with you and you can play.
That's right.
Tonjes, Bethune.
Whatever.
Tonjes made me some money.
Yeah.
Did he?
I took the over. I took the over on his 3.5 catches. He had 4 in the first quarter.
Nice.
There you go. That's not to say we don't want to see George Kittle back out there on the field on Saturday night. Let's talk San Francisco 49ers Seahawks matchup Saturday night next. All right, guys. I do not anticipate the 49ers scoring 40 points against the Seattle Seahawks. I don't anticipate the Seahawks scoring 40 against the 49ers either, though. This is a team that went at least 6 straight quarters without scoring a touchdown the last couple of games. Finally found the end zone in the second half against the Carolina Panthers last week in their win. They're a team that is one of the worst running offenses in the NFL, but the best rush defense in the NFL. So this is a fascinating matchup to me. Let's just go real quick to EPA per play here, guys, where the 49ers and where the Seattle Seahawks rank. Expected points added per play. The 49ers offense is number 6 in the entire NFL. The Seattle Seahawks offense is... Did I miss it, or is it that far down the list? I thought I had where it was. The Seattle Seahawks offense is middle of the road, 16th. So they're 16th in the NFL offensively. The Seattle Seahawks are. If you break it down by pass, the 49ers are top 4 in the NFL per pass. The only team throwing the ball better on an EPA per play basis for the entire season is the Patriots, the Packers, and the Rams. 49ers are 4th. The Seattle Seahawks are 8th. So Sam Darnold doing a pretty good job slaying it. But EPA per rush, both these teams are they're a volume running game. Both teams are. They want to be good running the football. Efficiency has not been high. It's been a little bit higher for the 49ers, breaking off some big runs the last couple of weeks. Might be more difficult against the Seattle Seahawks defense, and I'll tell you why. But the 49ers EPA per play rushing on offense is 22nd in the league, and the Seattle Seahawks is 29th. Only 3 teams running the ball less efficient than the Seattle Seahawks right now in the NFL in 2025. And then you go to the defensive side of the ball, guys, where the 49ers are all the way down at 24th in the NFL in EPA per play. The Seattle Seahawks are number 2. So number 2 defense in the league, only to the Houston Texans. Against the pass, the Seahawks are really good. They're 7th in the NFL. Against the run, Seattle Seahawks number 1 in the league. So that's the challenge that the 49ers have here is you're not going to put up 40, but the key here is, okay, let's say you put up half. Let's say the 49ers score 20. Can you cut the Seattle Seahawks points in half from what you gave up against the Chicago Bears, right? Because if you can't count on your offense to score 40, you better keep that other team under 20 points, 21 points, right? If you're the 49ers defense. And so that's where this thing gets really interesting. And if neither team can run the football very well, we might see these two teams go to the air again. And do we see a sneaky higher scoring game if that's the case?
So for me, if you're going to score 20 points against this Seattle team, that's higher than their average on the season. They're second in points allowed at only 18.1 points allowed per game on the season. Like, this is a very good Seattle defense. Top 5 in yards allowed. Like, they're fantastic. 49ers, they're out there scoring 27.1 points per game. So somewhere in the middle there, right, is kind of what we're looking for. But the thing about Seattle is not only are they second in points allowed, they're second in points scored. as well at 29.4, even more so than what the 49ers are doing. So to me, this is the best team they've played all year. I mean, yeah, the Rams have been good. They've been great. But with what Seattle does to you on offense and on defense is phenomenal. And you talk about the 49ers being on this special run. Seattle's on a pretty special run, too. If you're a Seahawks fan, like, you bring in a new quarterback, you get rid of DK Metcalf. You've now Jackson Smith-Njigba's kind of stepped up as maybe the best wide receiver in football, and you're putting up these ridiculous numbers, sitting with 13 wins. Like, this is pretty epic right here. What's about to happen on Saturday?
I was up at Stag today, and I was talking to the basketball coach. Shout out to Coach Newt. And he said, Croc, give me a lock for this week. What do you think a lock is? Like, well, give me a team. 49ers. Plus 1.5 at home. Now, listen, I get it. Seahawks, good defense, all that. Their offense has been really stagnant. And with the way that the 49ers offense is humming right now, I mean, they are playing at an extremely high level. This is the best by far. And they play some good defense opponents. Okay, you played the Indianapolis Colts. Like, the Colts, not bad on defense. One of the top run defenses in the entire league. Shredded them. The Bears, a team that takes the ball away at a high clip. And they did get the 49ers to start the game, but then the 49ers won on the score, 42 points. Yeah. They are playing at an all-time high level. You get George Kittle back. That only makes you even more dangerous. Another week of Ricky Pearsall just getting a little healthier instead of just being thrown out there to play. And he had a terrific game last week. I really like the 49ers in this game. And it's almost kind of disrespectful for a team that's on a 6-game win streak, winning the way that they are, to have them underdogs at home.
Yeah, agreed.
One more thing with this. 49ers have been there, right? They've played in these games. Like, how many of these games has Kyle Shanahan had to coach through these with the 49ers? But they're a super experienced team, and not just Kyle Shanahan coaching. How many of these players, especially on this offense, have been in this game, have been in this environment? Guys, even on the defensive side of the ball, like the Hyena, he has been in this environment. I think it's going to be electric, and I have a hard time thinking the 49ers are going to have any kind of letdown at this game. I'm taking the 49ers.
You mentioned points. 17-13 was the final when the 49ers beat the Seattle Seahawks all the way back in week 1. And I know there were some different players on the field for the 49ers, especially on the defensive side of the ball. The Seahawks added Jackson Smith-Njigba is the big one, right? Like, what do you got? The 49ers haven't been that team. Do you bracket them? Like, how do you? He's the one big playmaker that they've had on offense consistently. The two-headed monster. You got Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet, up and down, not super efficient, obviously, running the football, even though they will try to run the ball. And then they brought in, they have Cooper Kupp, and then they brought in Rashid Shaheed to add some speed to that offense. But if you remember looking at the injury report that I put on the screen there, Rashid Shaheed's in concussion protocol right now. So we'll see if he's able to come back and play in this game, because he's the second best playmaker that the Seattle Seahawks have on offense. But how did the 49ers get those 17 points? Well, it was George Kittle touchdown in the first quarter before he tore his hamstring. I don't know if it was actually a torn hamstring. I don't know if they ever called it a torn hamstring, but it took him out for 5 games. So it was a pretty bad hamstring injury. He scored the touchdown in the first quarter before he left the game. And then who had the other touchdown in that game? Jake Tongas. So it was a big tight end game for the 49ers offense in that 17-13 win in week 1.
Hey, Peacock, you mentioned Jackson Smith-Njigba. This is a guy, 1,700 yards, right? Like, I mean, he's been terrific. But you mentioned that game, 17-13 final score. Any guess at how many yards Jackson Smith-Njigba had in that game?
He had all of them. Basically, he had 9 catches for 124 yards. He was held
and
out.
And they still only scored 13 points.
Right.
The next. Here's the problem, though. The next most receiving yards on the entire team was Cooper Kupp, 2 catches for 15 yards.
Woo.
Elijah Arroyo had 1 catch for 7. Kenneth Walker out of the backfield had 3 catches for 4 yards. And that was it. So it was the entire production came from Jackson Smith-Njigba, really in the entire offense, because they didn't run the ball well either. Kenneth Walker had 20 yards. Zach Charbonnet had 47 yards on 22 carries combined. So it was Darnold to JSN, and that was it for their offense.
Yeah, I don't
About
want to
the
downplay
Seahawks.
the Seattle Seahawks. Obviously I'm bullish on the 49ers because of how they've been playing. But you're right. I mean, the Seahawks have been playing very well, winning games their way. We do understand what they can do on the defensive side of the ball. And Sam Darnold, he's another one of those guys that's kind of the J.R. Smith of the NFL. He can look a little odd, look a little weird, turn the ball over, or he can get streaky like J.R. Smith and start knocking down a bunch of threes. And you don't want him to knock down threes in this game. I just have a hard time feeling like the 49ers are going to with the all black, not just black uniforms and black helmets. That helmet is matte black. It's sweet. I'm not going to lie. It's sweet. You can't lose in those.
Listen. We can sit here and talk about the Seattle Seahawks, how good their defense is and how good their offense is, but no one on planet Earth in the month of December, since December has started, has played football better than Brock Purdy. Okay? This man's going to come out. He's going to look like the Brock Purdy we've seen the past 3 weeks. He is going to be on fire. Brock Purdy's going to lead this team to the #1 seed and the bye. Mark it down.
He's been the best football player on the planet this month. And speaking of big games, you mentioned Croc. Not Sam Darnold's forte either. So we'll see.
Last year, the Vikings, how does last 2 games go?
We'll see. To be honest with you, the biggest win of Sam Darnold's career came 2 weeks ago against the Rams on Thursday night. Right?
That was a crazy game, too. It was almost a game. I felt like the Seahawks were trying to lose, and the Rams were just like, nah, we kind of just want you to win this game. We're even going to give you this 2-point conversion.
Oh, that was crazy.
Sneaky bad football teams is what I'm hearing from you guys.
There we go.
In the rest of the NFC West. It's going to be fun. Can't wait. We're going to do a crossover with Corbin Smith of Locked On Seahawks. Keys to victory as well coming up. Getting you ready for Saturday night. It's a big one. 49ers, Seahawks. So stay tuned here to Locked On 49ers. Make sure you're subbed up on YouTube and everywhere you listen to your podcast. Check out the Everydayer Club, lockedon49ers.supercast.com, or check the link in the show notes. And thanks for making us the #1 sports podcast network. And back tomorrow, right here, Locked On 49ers.
See you.
Can't believe it. Wow.